Good afternoon to everybody out there. This is the power of healing with Utabi Ungowekhethelo. Umbulazi omnyama lo bengula kamzilikazi umzilikazi kamashobane shabane ndugasakazi kode. Uzikode kamkhatshwa okhatshwe ngezinja inyawo nemfushazana. Umkhatshwa wawo uzimangele unyama yentini yawo uzimangele. Umabasi wabo asentabeni kwadliwa ilanga lishona umbilini wabo nwayilanga. Yeah, that's me ngaqedi ne. Yeah, so it's a Thursday. We are 40 days, I need 40 nights as we conclude that journey this weekend. Bantwana basekhaya kuhle ukukhuleka. Kuhle ukukhuleka. Kuhle futhi nokulalela. Uyalalelwa kuSomandla. Angikhathali ukuthi ubani angathini kodwa uSomandla uyalalelwa. Abantu abangasekho bayalalelwa. Ithunywa ziyalalelwa, umoya uyalalelwa. We live in a physical world. And all of us are trying to figure out the spiritual world. We don't know it, but we try as much as we can to figure it out. But the mysteries in that world can be beautiful. Maulalela. The mysteries of that world can be wonderful. Maulalela. I'm going to share a testimony about me, guys. Ne? Testimonies that are coming from Abantu. I do appreciate them. I appreciate what the messages you send to me, guys. The messages you write. Ngiyabonga, because I'm here because of you. I'm here because I work for you and to better everybody's life or to help or heal everyone. It's okay. Most people that I can heal, that I can help, most people that are sent to me, I'm here to work or do God's job. Uksiza nina, ne? So my testimony is yesterday, guys, something amazing totally happened to me. Totally amazing. I mean, I'm still angizanglali because I don't know whether I'm still in the space of excitement or angas but nje, or I'm still trying to process it. Yesterday something amazing happened to me, but that was a validation from something that I did in the morning, and it was the feeling was great, because I always say that things that I do, that I give back, and for me giving back means helping someone else who really needs help at that moment. So I had the privilege of helping a child who was declined, or application yake was not processing for college. So as I did her things, we sort of like we had a face-to-face, not session, man, it was sort of like a 5 minutes thing, because I picked up her energy. So I said, so on yesterday morning I helped the child. Kungasiyiyo futhi kungasiwuye kuphela futhi on that day. I had another experience later in the afternoon, but however the gift I got in the evening was amazing. And but it's amazing, believe me. So what I want to say in that testimony is that, guys, we are told that abantu abangasekho balele, abezwa ababoni balele, and I can say to you that is not true. I'm here to say to you that is not true. I speak with them all the time, and all the time I get responses. I speak with God all the time, and every day, every minute I get responses. I don't believe in the God that says that delays. Usually maskula bekuthiwa uthatha kade uphendula, owami akathathi kade ukuphendula. Sometimes he just says not yet, not today, because I don't think you really know what you're looking for today. But he definitely responds. but lo engisebenza ngaye, when he knocks, he really needs you to open the door. Mine forever knocks in your door, but he wants you to open the door. So guys, as I want to say, I do appreciate, I can see I saw that subscribers are increasing, Siago 1,000, and I do appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate your okay, you setting appointments just to look at my face. I do appreciate. I get so many of those people say, I just wanted to see your face. I just wanted to hear your voice, like your voice one on one. I do really appreciate that. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. And also I do appreciate the fact that ogogo nabomkhulu, who are you guys? Trust me with their journeys, and trust me with your journeys, and trust my spirit guides for guidance and mentorship. I really want to appreciate that, guys. But I guess izameni ukulalela. I'm doing this work, or I was given this task, or I was given this purpose, so I can hold your hand and walk your journey with you, or walk the road of your journey with you. Unfortunately, I cannot. I at some point, when we see the green light, I have to let you go so you can see your own destiny, or find your own destination. But I am, as I'm letting your hand go, I'm not releasing you to be by yourself, but I want you to experience the journey while I'm guiding you on the side. And that's what I wanted to say. Um, in everything, in everything that we are and that we do, it's by the grace of God. And once you grasp that concept and you understand it, and it becomes your everyday affirmation, konke ngiyikho kuwumusa kaJehova, konke ngiyikho kuwumusa waley'thunywa ezingivumelayo to interfere in their space, or intervene in their family issues. Konke ngiyikho kuwumusa. So yeah, in the midst of the excitement that I had this yesterday, I even lost cross yami, as in I'm feeling so, yeah, ne. I felt a bit down because I lost my cross. But I guess I don't know whether there is a message to it, but I'm sure over the next coming days I will get the message. Or bekufanele nginikele something, yeah, for the excitement. But yeah, you should always know that kukhona into ezoyenzeka in the midst of excitement, khona nje that lento encane efanele ithi kancane. So yeah, so yeah, that's that, guys. So I really do appreciate. So I want to talk about something today. I want to talk about the spiritual languages as we are going to Easter weekend, as we are starting with prayers from I think from this evening. I think because mine starts my prayer this evening is at 6. So if you really want to join me in my prayers, in my prayer today, go 6. Yeah, go 6. Ngikhuphuka intaba. Yeah, so if you really want to join me, you can with your candle. I've taught all my spiritual children, or my children that I'm mentoring, how to pray. So you can join me, go 6 today, and we can continue it, and we can pray. Ne? So yeah, so I want to speak about spiritual languages, ne? And the dangers of spiritual languages, because as we embarking on this Good Friday journey, we need to understand what we are saying. The languages esikhuleka ngawo, or the languages that we profess with our mouth, we need to understand, or understand ukuthi afola kuphi and ubungozi bawo kithi. So yeah, because the first one I'm going to talk about is incantations. Then I'm going to touch on tongues, and then I'm going to go into clan praises. There's nothing much there to explain, but so when I talk about incantations, I've tried so hard to get a proper translation of a Zulu version of incantations, and I couldn't. So yeah, so I tried so much ukuthi ngithole i-definition ngesizulu or i-translation yesizulu, and inginikeza amahubo, which I doubt that's the proper lento. Ithi amahubo, I doubt that's the proper lento translation. And then when we talk about tongues, then we talk about izilimi, right? And then when we talk about clan praises, we're talking about ithakazelo, isiduko sakho. That's what we're talking about. So I want to touch on incantations, and ngizokhuluma, and I'm going so nizobona, yeah, some of the things kunezinto efane siyishaye siyichilize nje. But yeah, I want to talk about incantations, ne? And incantations are a series of words said as a magic spell. So incantations, the dictionary definition would be a series of words said as a magic spell or charm. Ne? I think that's the proper way of explaining it. So a lot of people, you get that they go to consult, ne? And you get that the healer speaks in incantations. Yeah. So that with incantations, you must understand, or with spiritual languages, you must understand there's verbal communication, or there's verbal channeling, and then there's non-verbal channeling. Okay. And then now with incantations, so I'll explain the non-verbal and the verbal channeling. With incantations, as I said, it's a magic spell or charm. It's a way it's used as a magic spell or charms. So we either chant incantations, right? So when we chant incantations, it could be a repeated rhythmic phrase, or it can be shouted by a group of it can be shouted by one person and sang by a group of people. So it's just that the rhythmic phrase, then that can be shouted by one person, or can be sung by a group. But then you have to understand that sometimes one person can do it non-verbally. So angayenza without saying a word. Sorry about that. So now when you chant incantation, right? So you go to consultation. I just want to make an example. You go to a consultation, and then you get to the space where this nothing. Space is prepared already. So you get to lapho umuntu asebenzela khona, either indumba or the space nje esinento zakhe asebenzela kuzo, the space that they use, umsamo or iladi, or and then this person moves. this person uyanyakaza, you can see good lo muntu lona is having this communication. To understand, there is this sort of ngathini, channeling. Okay, but then akasho lutho, uyamuva nje, and then uyabhodla, uyabhodla, bepping, and there's bepping, there's sometimes there's tears coming out, sometimes there's saliva coming out. And then after that whole process, or that going through that trance, then the person will say to you, I have nothing to tell you. Yeah? After all that process of feeling, of having those energies coming through, the spirits coming through, because obviously for my body to move, and for my spirit to have to be going through that channeling process, and then say to you, I have angiboni lutho, you should be worried, because what was happening throughout that made him move. If angiboni lutho, I should be the way I am. So you should be worried ukuthi yini beyimuvisa, yini beyimnyakazisa so much, but they don't see nothing, they don't see anything. That should worry you. And this is why I say the dangers that of these spiritual languages, that because a lot of people are in bondages because of these incantations, these spiritual languages, but they're not even aware. Right? So after that phase of or those minutes, and then they have nothing to say to do. And then sometimes, now when coming to the verbal incantations, somebody will speak, you don't even hear the language, they speak. Now the danger of that is that you don't know what this person is chanting, right? And you don't know okay, you don't know whether that person is speaking life into a deity. And that's the danger of that unknown language in terms of incantations. Now, with incantations, this is a language that is not given to a lot of people. It's a gift of the ancestors, but it's not given to a lot of people. A lot of people who use, or most of the people who use incantations are inyanga that work with imithi, to understand. So you need to understand which these incantations, this repetition of words, yenzani. Okay, you need to be worried, because I cannot be calling all these names, and then after such a period of time, then I say akulungi gogo, or akulungi khehla lami, and angazi ngizokusizaphi. This whole series of incantations that were spoken, or that was chanted, kanti bekweyani. That's why we need. That's why I think in my space, and I always talk about my experience or my space, I need people to hear what I'm saying. And some of my clients would even tell you that if I go through a trance or some sort of energy shift, or I feel something, at that moment when that is happening, I do explain what is happening to me. I do explain, and because you must understand, in the level that I'm at, I can control my space. Do you understand? So that is why I don't meet people without preparing beforehand, because then I know who I'm dealing with, I know what's going on, I know who's attacking me or who's coming through ngamandla. So when I go through certain pains, certain feelings or emotions and energy vibrations and a certain breakthrough, a spiritual breakthrough, and which is, let me say, a certain negative spiritual breakthrough, I explain immediately what's going on, because I want you to know that and I want you to understand the language. Now, you get that you don't know whether a deity is spoken into life. Empilweni yakho. Now you move from this consultation, you go to another consultation. Sekuthiwa kuwe sorry, unethunzi. Sekuthiwa kuwe kunobumnyama. Buqhamukephi all of a sudden? You need to know. And then yeah, so as I mentioned, incantations are sometimes used to connect or communicate with a spirit, causing, oh, so sometimes, yeah, sorry, this was a new one. So sometimes incantations are used to communicate or connect with a spirit that is causing an ailment on a person. And so that's why they would use incantations now, because we need to communicate with the spirit, and in most cases then yenziwa as part of ukufemba. Ne? And then sometimes you get that, because we need to have that communication with what's going on in there. Hence I say shamanism has a lot of ways in which you can heal a person. And 40 years ago, as I've mentioned in the video, 40 years ago, or 40 years plus years ago, chanting was used as part of healing. So they would chant a certain rhythm or a certain hymn, dancing around the fire. And do you understand? And you dancing around the fire, but there's this person who's got this unexplainable ailment. So that would be used to heal this person, and it's mostly used by those. It was mostly used by Indians. Um, well, my geography is not perfect, so I wouldn't say whether it's West White or West White, but yes, but it was used by certain tribes to heal a person, and that's part of shamanism as well. So they would go around the fire. There's this person who's sick, and they would actually chant a certain hymn, or sing it. That is shamanism, and that is chanting incantations as well. So yeah, so that is now incantations. We need to know what we are saying and what is the purpose of what we are saying. Okay, and then we're going to go into the tongues now. So in it, as I said, incantations are a gift from ancestors, right? When we get into tongues, that is a communicate. That is communication in communication to God in an unknown language. That would be your dictionary's definition of tongues. Speaking to God in an unknown language. Now, that gift you are given by the Holy Spirit. So that gift works in the religious space. Okay, whereas in incantations it's more of your spiritual healing. And then now with tongues, it's your religious space, ne? And you get people speaking in tongues. Some people adopt these tongues without knowing what is said in these tongues. You must understand, guys, not all of us will be gifted in some things. Let people who are gifted certain things, let them use those things. Don't adopt, because you are going to adopt, you don't even know what you're adapting to, you're adopting. So that comes as a gift of the Holy Spirit. Tongues is a gift of the Holy Spirit, and when you are consumed by this Holy Spirit, you are not even in your full sense to understand. You are not in control of your body or your tongue to understand what has been said. That is the Holy Spirit taking over. You don't know what you are saying, and at that moment, the Holy Spirit is communicating through you, to you, through you, to you, okay, with these tongues. But then if you speak in tongues, at a later stage cannot explain, because as the Holy Spirit descends and speaks in tongues, you already should have an explanation of after you understand what was going on, the transition. You understand what was going on in that moment where umoya yavuka and you speak in tongues. You need to understand. But if you are going to speak in tongues and pray in tongues and not understand what you are saying to people, then it's a problem. So that is why when you get pastors who are very spiritual and who understand spirituality, or who understand the holy tongues, they would stop you, would say, no, let us please speak in tongues that we understand. You need to understand what, because also you might be, remember that I always say in a spiritual space, or there is also, or in a religious space, there is also the dark side. So in every light, the light and dark, there's light and there's darkness. So there's two sides to a coin. You would find that there is Lando, there's spirits that work for good. There's angels and then there's demons. So you need to understand, Uguti, who are you channeling when you speak in tongues? Because sometimes you might be Concha, what is the word for it? You might be channeled to or invited into a space ongasas. You might be a lento. There's a word, man. I'll remember it. So you might be in that space where now you are being introduced to the dark side, but you're not even aware. And that's when we speak about different forces. There's always going to be two sides. There's always, you might be initiated. That's the way. Oh, angas good, because we always say initiate. You might be initiated into a certain group or into certain spirits, but you're not even aware of it. So we need you to speak in tongues that we can understand, because when you speak in holy tongues, when you speak in tongues from the light side, people should get healing, and people should feel lighter about what you are saying or what you are speaking. But when that language is messed up somewhere, you actually draining us. You drain our spirit. So we need to know. So you need to know, Guti, this thing you don't adopt. This is a gift, because we must understand in that spiritual space or in the holy space that those all those things are gifts. That's why if I don't have it as my package, I don't have it. I don't have it. Uh with now, okay, so we are in tongues, right? So a definition that you would get for tongues would be an unknown language, religious worship. Ne? So with incantations, guys, you can reverse incantations. Tongues. But in reversing incantations, then there needs to be a certain ritual to reverse incantations. With tongues, there need to be a certain prayer to reverse tongues, okay, or to de-initiate you from what you've been from that space, from that group, or from that spiritual land to family. We need to de-initiate you with prayer now, and with certain observations. So we need to observe certain things. And then now, because even with as people adopt things, they also adopt certain personalities. And then you find that at a later stage, lento umuntu yamqaka because akusamandla waphiwe. You understand? So yeah, and then now when we come to clan praises, that's easy. Ithakazelo. So clan praises for me should be very, very clear of what I'm saying. And that is why when I say my clan praises, normally you hear what I'm saying. Because I want you to hear what I'm saying. When I'm going to channel your spirit guides and your ancestors, you need to hear that I'm channeling your spirit guides and ancestors. So we are in the same space. We understand each other. So that there's no manga business that I do in a language that you don't understand. Now, in clan praises, ne? That is a physical communication with the spirit world. It's basically as it is a physical communication, because remember we are in this physical form and they're in the spiritual form. So that is basically acknowledgement, okay, of it's acknowledgement of their presence and paying respect to them. That's what clan praises are meant to do. So in a form, we are channeling them to come through and be with us at that moment. So it's acknowledgement of their presence and acknowledgement of whom you want to be present at that moment. So it is very important in clan praises that you are clear about who you are also, because now it's dangerous. You need to be clear of who you are and where you are and who you are working with. That's very important. As I said, a lot of people are in a spiritual bondage because of spiritual languages. A lot of people find themselves in a very confusing space because of spiritual languages. A lot of people find themselves trained due to spiritual languages. There's a lot that spiritual languages can do to actually harm a person. So that's why we need to understand the language. And for tongues, for someone to have tongues, you need to be in a certain level of spirituality and okay, in a prophetic space. You need to be in a certain level with your journey. With incantations, you need to be in a specific level with incantations. It is not something that you borrow from someone. However, with clan praises, we all have clan praises, so we all come from somewhere. But with these two, you cannot borrow it from somebody. You cannot have another person's, because we are unique, and each person is each person's journey is different to the other person. If you don't know incantations, it doesn't mean that young, or it doesn't mean that you are not initiated properly. If you don't speak in tongues, it doesn't mean that you are not a believer, you know, or you are not you don't worship, or you are weak in your worship, uh, or you are not a child of God. It just means that you were not given that gift. It doesn't mean that konokshodayo just because you don't know incantations or you don't know tongues. There's no such thing. I would rather I don't practice something than practice it falsely. Let us learn that we are all given differently. We are all given different things differently. Our journeys are different. We are initiated different. There's a lot of things that are different with each and every one of us. Kunezinto ekuthi maseyifikile, or the languages that mawumuntu ekufanele siyichilize, ekufanele siyishaye. Do you understand? The tools that we have, the tools that we have are meant for a lot of reasons. The tools that we have, or the spiritual tools that we have, either in your space yobukoma, or in a space prophet, or in a space, yes, or in a space, any space. The tools, with whether being a shaman, the tools that we have, they have reasons why we have them. So yeah, as I said, guys, yonke into kunesizathu why uba nayo. Yonke into, there's a reason why you should have, and why uyibonisa, and exactly where in your journey you should apply the tool. So even with tools, you are shown exactly where you should use the tool, and how it applies. So thanks very much, guys. I hope you do enjoy your Good Friday. I thought that, as I said, yeah, you never know with Okokone. Sometimes you are given a task, or so yeah. I hope that it's your actually Easter weekend is very blessed, and I get to see you on my next video. Thank you.